The Calthrine Youth Arena fell silent as the visiting human observer took her seat in the diplomatic box. Varu, the young Calthrine striker, felt his secondary hearts flutter with nervousness. Humans were rare in this sector, and their reputation preceded them like a shockwave through vacuum. Focus, Varu, his coach hissed, mandibles clicking in disapproval. It's just one human. She won't even understand the game, but Varu had heard the stories. Humans were deathworlders, apex predators from a planet so hostile that merely surviving there constituted a victory. They were supposed to be terrifying, calculating, dangerous. The female in the box wore simple clothes and smiled warmly, waving at the young players with enthusiasm that seemed wrong for a predator species. The game began with the traditional silence. Calthrine sporting culture demanded quiet concentration, with only the softest clicks of approval permitted from the audience. The 200,000 spectators in the stadium maintained this sacred tradition as Varu's team, the Crimson Talons, faced off against their rivals, the Void Strikers. Varu received the orb and began his approach, his powerful legs propelling him across the graviton field. He feinted left, then right, his tail providing perfect balance as, "Yeah, go number 7. That's it. Show them what you've got." The human's voice erupted like a plasma cannon. Varu stumbled, nearly dropping the orb. Every head in the stadium swiveled toward the diplomatic box. The human her name badge read, Sin, Cultural Exchange Liaison, was on her feet, hands cupped around her mouth, face flushed with excitement. "I apologize." The Calthrine diplomat beside her whispered urgently. "She doesn't understand our customs." "Defense! Watch your left flank." "Oh, come on, ref. That was clearly a foul." Shin's voice carried across the entire arena with the force of a stellar wind. Several young Calthrine players froze mid-play, their predatory instincts recognizing something unprecedented, a creature louder and more aggressive than themselves. The referee called a pause. Varu's coach approached the diplomatic box, clearly intending to request the human's removal. But something strange was happening on the field. Varu felt his blood warming, his muscles energizing. That shout, that primal, unreserved support, had awakened something in him. When play resumed, Varu moved with newfound intensity. He snatched the orb from an opponent and charged forward. "Yes, that's my boy. Run, Varu. Run." The human knew his name. The human was cheering for him. Varu's legs pumped harder than they ever had in practice. He dodged 2 defenders, his instincts sharper, his reactions faster. "Shoot! Shoot now!" He released the orb with all his strength. It sailed through the energy net, scoring the first point. The stadium's polite clicking began, but it was drowned out by a sound that shook the very foundations of the arena. "Go, oh, that's what I'm talking about. Woo!" Shin was jumping, her arms raised in victory, her voice hitting decibel levels that the stadium's acoustic sensors marked as potentially hazardous. Security personnel approached her, but she didn't notice. She was too busy performing what appeared to be some sort of human victory dance. Something unexpected happened then. One of Varu's teammates, emboldened by the human's enthusiasm, let out a loud chirp of approval. Then another. Soon, the young Calthrine players were making sounds, actual sounds in celebration. The adult Calthrine in the audience were scandalized. This violated every tradition of dignified sporting culture. But the youngsters on the field felt something their species had suppressed for generations. The raw, primal joy of competition. By the third period, Varu's team was down by 2 points. Shin had been politely requested to moderate her volume at least 17 times. She had complied 0 times. "Come on, Talons, you've got this. Varu, I believe in you." Those words, "I believe in you," struck Varu like lightning. No adult Calthrine ever said such things. Belief was assumed. Support was implied through silence. but hearing it shouted across a stadium by a creature from a death world. A predator among predators, who somehow channeled her aggression into pure, joyous encouragement. It changed everything. Varu called his team together. "We're going to make noise," he said, "like the human, like we actually care." They broke with a unified roar, the first in Calthrine youth sporting history. The final play was chaos. Varu had the orb with seconds remaining. 3 defenders closed in. The traditional strategy was to pass, to play safely, to maintain dignity, even in defeat. Instead, Varu heard Shin's voice one more time. "You can do it. Show them what humans taught you about heart." He charged straight through the defense, absorbing impacts that should have brought him down. His teammates screamed. Encouragement actually screamed. The sound was ugly, undisciplined, and absolutely glorious. The orb left his hands. Time seemed to freeze. The arena held its breath, then erupted as the winning point registered. But the explosion of sound didn't come from Sin alone this time. Thousands of young Calthrine voices joined hers in a cacophony of celebration that their elders would later describe as the end of civilized sporting culture. As security finally managed to escort a still cheering Sin from the stadium, she passed Varu's team. She high-fived each player, another human tradition they'd never experienced. "You kids are warriors," she said, her voice hoarse but still loud. "Don't let anyone tell you that passion is improper. The galaxy needs more noise, more heart, more humans." Varu clicked his mandibles in confusion. "But we're not human." Shin's grin was pure predator. "Kid, after today? Close enough." The next day, youth sporting organizations across 12 systems reported the same phenomenon. Young athletes were making noise. They were cheering, shouting, celebrating with abandon. Coaches were horrified. Players had never been happier. And somewhere in the diplomatic archives, a note was added to humanity's file. Warning: exposure to human enthusiasm may be contagious. Cultural contamination protocols ineffective. Species-wide infection of school spirit now considered inevitable. Varu kept the recording of Shin's cheers. On difficult days, he'd play it back and remember. Sometimes, the loudest voice in the room belongs to someone who simply cares more than anyone else thought possible. That was the human way. And maybe, just maybe, it could be the Calthrine way too.